Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Wow, guys, I don't even know where to begin with this game. I mean, this was the weirdest roller coaster with all the twists and turns and ups and downs of a game that I have seen in, I mean, really in a long time. I can't even think of the last game that sent my emotions into so many different directions the way this game between the Mets and the Minnesota Twins just did. Where you start with Christian Scott, one of the former top prospects for this organization and in all of baseball, making his return to the big leagues here after missing all of last year with Tommy John surgery, has pitched well in Syracuse. Out of the gate, strikes out Byron Buxton, and then goes on to walk 4 of the next 6 batters to walk in a run. Then the Mets come back in the bottom half of the inning and get a 3-run homer from Brett Beatty, of all people, his first shot of the game. Scott pulled in the middle of the second inning after issuing another walk, committing a balk, and then hitting a batter. And the Mets end up putting on a few more runs and kind of stabilizing this game for a little while. They have 2 separate 5-run leads in this game. And the Twins are kind of chipping away, 6-2. Now it's 7-2. Carson Bench has a home run. I'm feeling pretty comfortable, but not super comfortable yet because the Mets had to go to their bullpen so early in this one. And I'm wondering, how are they going to close this one out? But at 7-3 in the 8th inning, I was feeling pretty confident until Craig Kimbrell came in. And he loads the bases for Huascar Brazoban to serve up a game-tying grand slam. And at that point, I basically flipped my pen in the air and said, holy crap, this team is trying to kill me. It really, truly is. But it got even crazier from there, as you all know, because you go to the bottom of the 8th, you get the signature moment from Bo Bichette so far in his Mets career with the 2-out bases clearing double off of the wall in left center, and you can breathe a little bit again. But the 9th inning really was an encore for the wackiness that we watched this evening. It begins with SMY coming back to the broadcast in between innings, Huascar Brazoban going back out for the 9th inning, but was not supposed to do that. But because he crossed the foul line, has to pitch at least one batter. He gets the out, a ground ball to first base, and the Mets go to Devin Williams, which was the original plan. And Williams gives up a hit and then a ringing double. And all of a sudden, it's runners at second and third with 2 outs. And somehow, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. He bears down and he does get the final out by striking out Larnick or whatever the hell his name is. And even the final pitch of the game had a little wrinkle to it as Francisco Alvarez has it pop out of his mitt and has to catch it with his bare hand to secure the strikeout. This was the weirdest game of all time, man. This was such a weird, strange game. I am glad they are on the winning side of it, but man, there are a lot of things that I am not too pleased with from the Mets performance tonight, and we are going to break it all down. But in the end, a win is a win is a win, as I like to say here. Put it in the books. The Mets get 2 in a row. The Mets take a series from another real-life Major League professional baseball team, no matter how ugly and weird of a game it was. The Mets get the win. What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. Welcome to the stream. You know the drill. Daily Mets content here on the channel. If you are new, be sure to subscribe. Hit that button now. Post-game streams after every Mets game. Leave a like on this video. Really helps the channel out a lot. Appreciate that from you. Go ahead and do that right now. And you can follow me on the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Links to all of those are in the description of the YouTube video here down below. You might be watching me on X. If you want to come join the chat over here on YouTube, link to that is on my X profile. and we're taking phone calls again. If you guys want to be a part of the show, would love to hear from you. Link to Discord is in the description of the video down below on the YouTube video. So when I'm ready to take some phone calls, I will welcome you guys in, and we can get everybody's take about this bizarre, weird Mets game that we just witnessed. Long game, by the way. I guess it ended at what, maybe 9:15, 10:15 Eastern. Seems like it was a longer game than that, right? Two Cats, huge game for Bo. Tony, huge game for Bo. He gets the thumbnail credit here on YouTube today. 3 for 5 in this one. The clutch 3-run double there. Huge game from Bo Bichette, who has very quietly just looked a lot more comfortable at the plate and just overall in a Mets uniform over the last, I'd say, 2 weeks or so, despite that losing streak they were on. Big game. Horrendous game for Scott, but just nerves, hopefully. Yeah. So Christian Scott, man, he definitely looked very nervous out there. He, of course, like I said, walks 5 of the first 6 batters that he faces in this game, including walking in a run there in the first inning. Did well to avoid any further damage there, but then comes right back out in the second inning and walks the leadoff batter on 4 pitches. He would eventually commit a balk and then hit Byron Buxton with a pitch, and that was the end of the line for him. And man, I got to say, I give credit to Mendoza for this one, and trust me, it's not all roses and, lollipops or whatever you want to say with Mendy, because we'll get to some of his other decisions in this game that I didn't love so much. But I love that Mendy pulled Scott there. You got the 3-run homer from Bo Bichette, from Brett Beatty to immediately give the Mets a 3-1 lead. I mean, going up against Joe Ryan, who so many people in Mets fans wanted the Mets to try and trade for this offseason. A guy that is a good pitcher, in my opinion, but not great. But still, if he's on, he's on. And he's a tough guy to get to. The Mets get to him right away. I thought it was a good decision by Mendoza. Pull the plug on Scott. Clearly didn't have it. Nerves were at an all-time high for him. First time back on a big league mound since 2024. You can't, after that 12-game losing streak, have this one get away from you early, because Christian Scott just is not ready for the moment. So I give all the credit to Carlos Mendoza for deciding to pull the plug as early as he did on Christian Scott. There's a few other decisions by Carlos Mendoza that I can't say I agreed with or liked very much, and we'll get into that. But let me get through the rest of the chat here. Chef Dad, love my team, but goddamn, they've been killing me since 1980. Chef Dad, man, I'm 14 years your junior, at least as a fan. Yeah, I can agree and attest to that myself. It's just never easy. It's never easy as a Mets fan. I mean, I got my girlfriend who understands that my entire personality and my entire mood is dictated by these 26 men in a uniform. And she's checking in with me every now and again. You okay? Is everything okay? She'll check the scores just to make sure everything's good. But yeah, they never make it easy, man. They don't. Two Cats again. Williams cannot be on this team too if they want any chance of winning a championship. Most Metsian type of game you could ever get. That's a great way to say it. One of the most Metsian games of all time. Look, Devin Williams, awful. Again, this is now 4 straight appearances. We'll get deeper into him as we continue on with the stream. I mean, look, honestly, at that point, throwing him out of his routine where he was expecting to be summoned from the bullpen only to be sent back because Brazoban and him, they had that little snafu there. Carlos Mendoza actually just said in the post-game show that it was a language barrier thing, even though Mendy obviously speaks Spanish, but it's up to the pitching coach, Justin Willard, to let the guys know if they are going to continue into the next inning or if they're going to the bullpen. So that's, at the end of the day, it falls on Mendoza. It does. And he took accountability for it, but it's still unacceptable. So back to Williams. It's been brutal. It's been bad. And there needs to be some real thought about making some changes. I don't know exactly what they decide to do, if they want to try Luke Weaver there as the permanent kind of closer guy, but it's been bad for Williams. There's no way to skirt around it anymore, for sure. Crimson Angel, great team win and finally got the offense going, but man, Brazoban gave me a heart attack and my blood pressure was high. When he gave up that bomb, man, I did not think the Mets were going to win this game, much less come back and score the very next inning. The Mets with 3 comeback innings, as in first inning gave up a run, came back to score 3. In the third inning, they gave up another run, and they came back to score another one. And then again there, obviously, in the 8th inning after the grand slam, Bo Bichette with the 3-run double off the top of the wall there. So that's nice to see from this offense, finally perking up. I mean, I've always said, or have said for a long time now, it seems like as soon as this team gets punched in the mouth, they kind of just go away and just crawl back to their hole. But tonight, nice to see the lineup carrying the freight for the pitching staff, which was just a disaster. I mean, tough to ask your pen to cover 7 2/3 innings like they had to tonight, but wow, just a disaster class from almost everybody that pitched in this game. And again, we're going to get into that and some of the decisions Mendoza made that I just think were really, really poorly timed. So Crimson finally got the damn offense going. I'm sorry, I got you there already. Earl Daly, a win is a win. It is. It's not a pretty one, but they all go down as the same W in the standings and a series win. This is what I said about crawling back into this race. You've got 3 teams, the teams that have the combined worst record in baseball since the beginning of 2025 in the Twins, the Rockies, and in the Nationals. I'm not saying at this moment right now the Mets are any better than any of these 3 teams on this homestand right now. But if you want to prove that you are and prove that you can be a playoff team this year, then you need to go win every one of these series. And I want even more. I want a sweep of at least one of these teams in the Rockies or in the Nationals. So we'll see what happens. A W's a W, and hopefully this gets the Mets back on track. But like I said, a lot of things not to love about this win regardless. Let's see. Blast Radius, nice win, no doubt. Blast, nice to have you in here. Appreciate it. Let's see, Earl, I'm glad they held it together for the win, especially because the Twins social media team tried to rub it in our face. They did. Crimson Angel saying the same thing. Twins should have kept their mouths shut. They did that win on Tuesday, calling us, out on the 12-game losing streak. But again, like I said yesterday, the Twins, one of the most irrelevant franchises in all professional sports. So enjoy Minnesota, I guess. Go back to the cold. I don't know. Ice fishing? Is that what they do in Minnesota, maybe? Mark Benjamin says, is it me or does Bench hit better when Soto's in the lineup? I'd have to look at the numbers. It's not as if he's hitting behind Soto or in front of Soto. He was in the 9-hole today. But, I mean, you got Bichette and Soto behind him, 1-2 at the top of the order to, turn it around. So I've long said, I think Benj in the 9-hole is fine. Gives you him some protection behind him, just kind of built in there. So yeah, that could be the case for sure. But good day for Carson Benj. Obviously his second career home run, also had a homer, 3 hits overall in this one, 2 hits in this one, and also drew a walk, I believe it was. So it was a good day for the lineup. No doubt about it. It was a really good day for a lineup. A little point in the game there after Nathan was, after Ryan, I wanted to say Joe Nathan, a former Twin closer, but after Joe Ryan was removed from this game, I think the bullpen continued on and they retired 9 or 10 straight Mets there in the middle innings. So good overall day, but obviously that Twins bullpen that's not so great did pretty well there until the 8th finally. Let's see, Blast Radius, do we trust Williams moving forward? No. Definitely not. At this point, it's in his head. And this is what people have been saying since last year when he got traded to the Yankees. I'm just watching this replay of Francisco Alvarez having to barehand the last pitch as it popped out of his glove. I mean, they did everything they possibly could to try to lose this game. It was just such a Metsian game, as somebody said earlier in the chat. But Williams, no. He is out of the circle of trust, Fokker. He is out. He needs to prove himself again. I don't know if they put him into some lower leverage situations now and if they give somebody else a crack at closing, but there are some questions in this bullpen right now, and it's very concerning. I won't lie. I'm concerned about this bullpen, and that's just one of the many concerns that I think we all have about this team right now. So, Michael DePinto, LGM, good to have you in here, Michael. Appreciate that. He also says, Williams is awful. Worst signing ever. Problem is, if they sign Diaz, he'd be hurt right now. So they were damned either way. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess, right? It's been bad, man. It has been really bad for Williams these last couple of outings. So, hopefully he turns it around. But again, weird circumstances tonight. I mean, was it a full moon? Was it a full moon, or were there black cats at the stadium tonight that I didn't know about? Because just a wacky, weird game from start to finish on both sides. But obviously the Mets always out weirding other teams. We know that for sure. Enrique Garcia says, Tony, rough finish, but I'll take it. I mean, you'll take it any way you can get him at this point. When you're coming off a 12-game losing streak in dire need of every single W you can get, you'll take it however you can get it. So happy the Mets got a win. Doesn't mean I'm happy with how they got there necessarily. NYC Buzz, what's good, Tony? Glad they won, but man, Williams scares me. That's the consensus here so far, guys. Devin Williams is frightening us, and nobody has any trust in him at this point, and I have no way to defend him at this point. None at all. couple of rockets off of him in this game after he got the 2 outs. So very concerning about the back end of the Mets bullpen right now. Blast radius, Semien with a couple hits. He's heating up. Marcus Semien quietly been a lot better over the last 9-10 games or so. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know he entered this homestand hitting a lot better than he had for the first 18 or whatever so games the Mets had played this year. So that's a nice little sign right there. Crimson Phillies also lost. That is right. 9 straight losses for the Phillies. You hate to see it, don't you? Isn't it? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Philly. Oh. Let's see. Jose Lopez Moya, an easy win was turned into a crap show thanks to jackass Mendoza and mediocre Williams. All right, I'll break it down for you guys. Here's my thoughts on everything. Real quick, though, Ken Garcia says, 2 in a row, let's go for 3 tomorrow. That's called a winning streak, as we know from the movie Major League. Carlos Mendoza ends up going and pulling Scott there in the second inning with 1 out, and I applauded him for it. I tweeted about it. I said it was a good decision. I think that was the right move. Scott clearly didn't have it, as you could see on the screen right here, him walking off the mound. It was a moment just too big for him, and that's okay. I think Scott will bounce back, but Carlos Mendoza goes to Tobias Myers, who I thought had a really strong game. Did a really good job, like I said, to kind of stabilize this one, as he's able to give you 2 1/3, I believe. I'm looking at the wrong scorecard here. Let me double check here, but I think he gave the Mets 2 1/3. He did, yes. He ends up having 1 run come in after Peterson came in to relieve him. That was an unearned run because of an error from Ronnie Mauricio, who we have to talk about because, wow, it was a horrid night for Ronnie Mauricio in his first game starting in place of Francisco Lindor. I like Ronnie, but we've had some people commenting and saying they prefer Ronnie to Francisco Lindor. This was a very harsh reality of what life could look like without Francisco Lindor. Just go look at Ronnie Mauricio's at-bats and play in the field today. Anyway, he pulls Myers after 2 1/3, and I really didn't understand that decision. I would have kept rolling with Myers. He gave up some hard contact there in the 4th inning. I will grant you that. But I probably would have stuck with him and let him go a little bit further in this game. He was able to rebound, get a strikeout, and then the Mets end up going to David Peterson. That's when the Mauricio error occurs there with 2 outs in the 5th. Then Peterson gives up a base hit to score a run, and it becomes a 6-2 game at that point. I thought the leash was too short with Tobias Myers. I thought you could have rode him, let him at least finish that inning, if not continued then into the 5th inning as well. He goes to Peterson, who pitches pretty decent in this one as well. Not great, not terrible, before they end up going to Craig Kimbrell there. And look, in a 7-3 ball game, if you don't trust Craig Kimbrell to get you 3 outs with a 4-run lead, then there's nowhere you can really trust him other than mop-up duty. And I'm sorry, but there's probably enough other arms in this bullpen that we could consider mop-up guys at this point. I mean, Sean Manaea, unfortunately, if he's not doing long relief work, he can do it in either a lead, a big lead, or in a big deficit, in a big hole. But Craig Kimbrell coming in and allowing him to load the bases there, I thought it was a bad decision to go to Kimbrell there. I mean, I don't know who you necessarily could have went to, because he was going to use Williams there in the 9th, even if it was 7-3, I believe. But you could have went to Brazoban to start that inning instead. It felt like he was almost trying to save Huascar Brazoban for tomorrow, potentially, if they needed a long man tomorrow at any point in the opening game against the Rockies. So I don't understand this decision to go to Craig Kimbrell, who ends up loading the bases, and then he pulls the plug on him, and he goes to Brazoban, and he gives up the grand slam. I thought those were 2 critical mistakes by Carlos Mendoza tonight, having such a short leash with Tobias Myers, who, despite some hard hits off of him and contact, looked pretty good. Peterson going to Kimbrell there for the 8th, and just in general going to Kimbrell at all, I didn't like that decision whatsoever. I really didn't. Obviously, Huascar going back out there for the 9th, assuming he's pitching the 9th inning. Yes, it falls, I guess, on Justin Willard as well, because that's his assigned duty to inform pitchers who's staying in and who's getting removed from the game. you're the manager, you're the captain of the ship. If you guys crash into an iceberg, it is not because of your lookout guys. It is because of the captain. You go down with the ship. So that falls on Mendoza too. I got to call it how it is. I'm not happy about how that went either with with Huáscar Brazoban, just assuming he was going back out there for the ninth and the wackiness that created for the final inning of this game. So those are my thoughts on Brazoban. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Daily Mets content, post-game streams after every Mets game. Leave a like on this video as well. Really helps the channel. Go ahead and do that now. I appreciate it from you guys. And if you're watching on X and you want to join the chat, come over to YouTube. Link to that is in my profile. Let's go to the chat again here, and then I'll double check, see if we have any Discord callers in the group. Love to hear from you guys. You could go to the Discord link in the YouTube video description, or just type it in from this little graphic right here below me and the Instagram logo. But Jose Lopez, the Phillies and the Mets are the same genetically, and that makes them identical twins. There you go. And the Mets took 2 out of 3 from the Twins. By the way, want to hear from you guys. Who is your NFL team, and are you happy with their draft picks? I guess happy with the number 2 pick, Bailey for the Jets, linebacker, you know, led the whatever FBS and sacks last year. Not so thrilled about a tight end at 16. Gotta be honest, Jets have drafted a lot of tight ends over the last couple of years, including Mason, what is it? Is it Mason Taylor? Yeah, Jason Taylor's son. Okay, sure, whatever, Jets. Jets are going to jet. But let me know who you guys are fans of and if you're happy with their picks tonight in the NFL draft. Chris Pritchard, thank God we won this game. Thank God is right, because, I'm sorry, you lose a game like this, and you're automatically the laughingstock again of baseball. Like, you could have deleted the 12-game losing streak from yesterday with the win, but if you found a way to lose this one, and in the fashion that the Mets nearly lost it in, back to being the laughingstock of the league, even more so than the Phillies and their 9-game losing streak right now. Alvin Solano, put some respect on Brett the Hitman Beatty's name. Look, Alvin, I know you're a Brett stan, but this is the first time you have called him Brett the Hitman Beatty this year. That's how bad he's been. I am happy he came through. He was the one that started that rally with a leadoff single there in the 8th inning as well. Came around to score on Bichette's double. So good night for Beatty. We got to get more nights like this from Beatty, because I have not seen this version of Brett Beatty since August of last year, or September, if I'm being kind, I guess. Let's see, who else do we got? Michael DePinto, fan since 1989. Just want to see one World Series title before I die. Man, me too. I was born in 94. I'm 31. So, like, I got a little bit of time, you know, knock on wood, but I need to see one. Just one. That's it. Just give me one. Let's see, who else do we got in here? Gabriel, what's up, man? He says, get Williams back to the minors. That will not be happening. That is not a clause in his contract, unfortunately. The Mets have to ride it out with Devin Williams. They have no choice but to, like I said, maybe put him in some lower leverage situations, see if that will help him sort himself out. But we're going back to last year with the Yankees, which I think kind of gets demonized more than it actually was a bad year. I mean, he was scoreless in something like 8 of his first 11 appearances with the Yankees last season. They just weren't the cleanest of innings. This has been pretty bad for these last 4 outings. There's no defending it, but you're going to have to roll with these punches, man. You are just going to have to hope that Devin Williams finds a way to turn things around. Again, whether it's in the closer role or not, I'm not sure, but things have not gone well for Williams here in the other borough of New York. All right, who else? E.E. Moreau. Carlos Mendoza has got to go. Why bring Craig Kimbrell? It's like we owe him something. Mendoza's a weak manager. Got to go. Look, I agree, man. I'm not about the Mendoza part, but about bringing in Craig Kimbrell there didn't make sense to me. I mean, just didn't make sense to me. And now we're to the point where you can't trust Craig Kimbrell even with a 4-run lead. You just can't. I mean, I think he issued a walk, gave up 2 hits in that inning. And then obviously a lot of the focus is going to go on Brazoban. He's the one that gives up the grand slam, but all set up on the alley-oop from Kimbrell, who loaded the bases and handed it off to him. Couldn't complete an inning and get 3 outs for you. So not happy that he went to Kimbrell there, but equally as disappointed in Kimbrell himself. And it really makes me wonder, how much longer do they want to really give this guy to continue pitching for this team, right? Let's see. Trash Boys, the bullpen has no good breaking balls. It's all fastball changeup. Don't forget the cutter. Justin Willard loves that cutter. He's basically taught every Mets pitcher how to throw one this spring training. Yeah, there's things to be worried about because Peterson was okay. He gives up a home run. The other run is unearned because of the Mauricio error. But, the bullpen's a little concerning because at this point you got two guys that you were expecting to be in the starting rotation when the year began in the bullpen, in Peterson and in Sean Manaea, both with some success. They haven't been bad there, but does it really make sense to have two left-handed starting pitchers in your bullpen when, oh, by the way, AJ Minter is also on his way back to go along with Brooks Raley as well? Are the Mets really going to carry four guys in their bullpen that are lefties? I don't think so. So that's one concern for sure. Brazoban has been kind of what I expect from Brazoban. When he starts a clean inning, I feel pretty good about him. When he comes into a mess, I don't always have the most trust for him. I got to be honest. And unfortunately, tonight's mess was too big for him to clean up as he only exasperates the issue by giving up the grand slam. But yeah, man, the bullpen's a little concerning right now, especially with what we have seen from Weaver and from Williams recently. Obviously, good night for Weaver last night. Not good night for Williams here, but Weaver's had his troubles over the last week and a half or so as well. So you're not wrong. Bullpen is definitely a point of concern right now for this team. Let's see, who do we got? Ken Garcia, thank you for the mention. Good night. Oh, I appreciate it, man. Ken, have a good night's sleep, my man. Robert Lubinacci, Jackass Mendoza bringing in Williams to me was like, fire me, please get me away from this mess. Look, when Brazoban got the weak contact little tapper to Beatty at first, and Brazoban went over to cover for the first out of the ninth, even Cohen and Ron Darling talked about it on the broadcast. Do you just roll with this? Do you want to risk going to Williams? I mean, on the flip side, Brazoban just gave up a grand slam last inning, but I think you could. I probably would have stuck with Brazoban there, and I know it's 2020, but we know, especially a closer, they are creatures of habit. So for him to walk out however far of the bullpen, Devin Williams that is, and then have to turn back and go back in the bullpen, sit down again, or do whatever he did to stay loose, and then come back out after that out. I mean, I'm not making excuses for Williams, but it's not an easy situation for any closer to have to do. So that's on Mendy and on Brazoban and on Willard for not communicating it well. But yeah, it's a bad night for Devin Williams in the end. That's how, when you look at the box score, you're going to see that he gave up a run and very nearly blew this game that the Mets somehow found a way to win. Thank goodness. Let's see. J.M. Gonzalez, Mauricio can't play every day. What are our other options at shortstop? I don't want to see Bichette there. Very glad you brought that up. This is not a Mendoza problem, but there is another guy in this game we need to talk about. And it was Ronnie Mauricio, because this was about as horrid of a performance as you could have asked for from Ronnie Mauricio here in his first game, suiting up for Francisco Lindor at short. Begins his night with a strikeout, then grounded out to second base, struck out again in the seventh, and then with an opportunity there in the eighth with runners on the corners and one out, all you need is a sacrifice fly to give you a one-run lead. He pops up to shallow center field and can't get the job done. So really bad night for Ronnie Mauricio. He has the error in the field, like I said. He chased two fastballs for strike three that were at his eyes. I mean, this has always been the issue with Ronnie. He can hit the ball a country mile. We saw that in his first at-bat tonight when he hit a home run foul just about 10 feet right of the foul pole. But then we see him chasing those pitches up at his eyes. The breaking ball, the slider coming in on his feet in the left-handed batter's box. I'm not writing him off, but this is what comes with Ronnie Mauricio. And it goes back to what I said before. A lot of Mets fans wanted to hate on Francisco Lindor these first 3 weeks and how bad he has been, and any of the other, outside noise that you want to bring up that I won't get into now. This is reality without Francisco Lindor. This is reality without a superstar shortstop. As many shortcomings as Lindor had early in the season and has had to begin many of his seasons here in Queens, this is the alternative. Did this look good to you from Ronnie Mauricio tonight? Because I thought it was about as bad of a game as you could have possibly had. So bad night for him. I don't think there's any other options to answer your question, Gonzal. There's really nobody in the system that's ready unless you want to go to Jackson Clough, who was getting some time with the team in spring training. I think he was one of the final cuts. I truly don't know a thing about him other than that he played in spring training for the Mets this year. I don't think they're going to do that. I just think they're going to give Mauricio time, and hopefully he looked better than he did tonight because it was really, really, really bad. Jose doubling down on that. Mauricio doesn't have any play discipline. Looks like a Dominican Ryan Thompson. Okay, that's a pull right there. I like it, Jose. Just adding 2 pitchers coming out at the same time. Not a good look. It's a circus sometimes with this team, as we unfortunately know too well. Really bad look. That's got to be nipped in the bud immediately. There needs to be a protocol that they discuss tonight before leaving the stadium with all of the relievers and starters and Justin Willard and the bullpen coach, whoever's involved with that discussion. And on back-to-back nights as well of having Mark Vientos run through the stop sign, and then the comments that he made after the game saying, I was trusting my instincts and told myself I was going to score. I saw the stop sign at third only to get thrown out by 30 feet. Not a good look for Vientos. Carlos Mendoza said they had to talk about it in private. He was still in the starting lineup tonight, though. So, Mendy, you got to get control of your team, man. What the hell's going on? Not a good look at all. And again, I said this in the beginning of the stream, guys. I am happy the Mets won. It does not mean I am happy with how the Mets played or how they looked. So I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can about it all. Thank you guys for tuning in. Very, very much appreciated. Let's go through a couple more chats, and let me actually double check here. We got someone in the waiting room from Discord. So you know what? Why don't we do that right now? We could take your guys' calls. So if you guys want to be a part of the show, you guys could just go to the link in the video description down below. Go to that Discord. It'll put you in the waiting room. And then when I'm ready to take calls, which I guess is right now, I'll pop you into the show. So let's go ahead and take our first call. I am trying to get an idea. What's R dot dot dot? An interesting username, but I'm going to just go with R Duck because you got a duck profile picture. R Duck, what's on your mind, man? You're on the show.
What's going on, Tony? It's Angel, Crimson Angel again. What's going
Crimson,
on, man?
What's up, my man? Okay, how you doing, brother? What's going on?
Doing all right. Doing all right. What a game today. That was not what I expected, honestly. With the high scoring game. Oh, by the way, we good right now?
We're good.
The audio good? Okay. Yeah, I was really impressed today with Brett Beatty. Luis Robert with that hit in the corner over there. That was really good. And Soto, of course. I don't know why him and Lindor got beef for some reason. But, it's got to stop, honestly. 2 guys crying over, who is going to be the star of New York. Come on.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, and not only that, the bullpen was an issue tonight. That's for sure. I can't really deny that because that was something. That was, give me a heart attack almost with Brazabong.
I mean, look, it was just insane, in my opinion, to go to Craig Kimbrell there in the first place to allow him to load the bases and then to go to Brazabon there. I mean, there were a lot of, I think Mendy did not manage the bullpen very well today. And I will say this, it's tough. Like I said earlier, you got to ask your bullpen to manage or pitch 7 2/3 innings when Scott gets removed there in the second inning. But a lot of questionable choices, I believe, from Mendoza.
Yeah, for sure. But Bo Bichette, though, he came alive tonight. And then, it was only a matter of time before he would got going. So it's good enough that he's going to get going for this next series against Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up. And I'm not sure who's starting for Colorado, but, they have a good record right now. But, they're going to be one of the worst teams by the end of the season ends. But it's game time now for them because it's only up from here, and it's a start. Winning 2 games right now, that's a start.
It's a start. It's a perfect way to say it. I mean, like I said, you got to stack series W's now, and you need to find and put some sweeps in there as well. You're now 7 games under 500. I think that makes the Mets 9-16. You are still in 4th in the National League East, and there's a lot of hill to climb still. So it's a start, but they are not even nearly close to out of the woods yet.
Yeah, I think the defense needs to improve, though. Honestly, like they finally got it going offensively with the bats and everything, but I think they have to improve on defense a lot more and tighten up. Because you can't allow 8 runs, against you when you're up by 10, right? Or yeah, it was like 8-3 at one point, right? Something like that, and then they gave up that lead almost. Like it was just they gotta be able to keep up a lead.
Yeah, and look, it starts with the pitching, in my opinion. And Crimson, I really appreciate the call back-to-back nights, bringing the heat, my man. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but yeah, dude, the defense. It's been a little suspect at times, but, Mauricio, really the only play that stood out to me today on that ball that got over the mound over Peterson's head, and he just bobbled, and that ended up leading to a run scoring there in the fourth inning. But other than that, it's just the pitching staff. And again, it's hard to cover 7 2/3 from your bullpen when, your pitcher, your starter leaves in the middle of the second there. But yeah, look, it's nice to finally see the bats come alive, and then all of a sudden, well, the pitching did what it did today. And, you got all these kind of weird plays happening and mental mistakes. So hopefully this is a turning point. But again, gotta be honest, not the 2 most convincing wins of all time. I think we can all agree with that. All right, let me go back to the chat. I'll keep my eye on Discord. We'll probably go another 15 minutes or so. If you guys do want to call into Discord, I'll keep looking over there. But in the meantime, let's go back to the chat. Somebody here that I saw I wanted to shout out really quick. But first, let me just say, Joe Saturn, 2 pitchers coming out. We already talked about that one. Sorry. Michael DePinto, wish the Giants took Downs at 10. Of course, he went to Dallas. Yeah, well, I am upset that the Rams hand-selected Matt Stafford's heir in Ty Simpson. I would have liked the Jets to maybe take a flyer on him at 16, but, that's why the Rams are a good organization. They are already prepared for the next phase of that team once Stafford rides off into the sunset, and still will be Super Bowl contenders once again this year. So I hear you on that one, Michael. My Jets are just hopeless, as we all know. Trash Boys Beatty is second in RBIs. You got to give him that. I will give you that. Not that it's been a who's who so far of offensive production from this Mets lineup to this point, but I will give him that without a doubt, my man. Hudson, Kimbrel's really awful, and thanks for the content. Really appreciate the daily posts. Hudson, I appreciate you watching them and leaving likes and commenting and being a part of the stream. Really, really appreciate it from you. I would not be able to keep doing this if I didn't have you guys on YouTube and on Twitter and the other platforms, commenting, leaving likes, and all those things. So I really appreciate you guys for that. E. Moreau, Tony Metro, good take on Mendy. Lazy decisions to bring Kimbrel in without needing him. Not a good manager. Well, he's not helping himself with some of the choices he's been making lately, and it does not help when you see some of the answers and I don't want to call them excuses, but his reasoning behind decisions in his post-game comments. I did not hear him asked about Kimbrel. He was mainly asked, of course, about the situation with Brazoban in the 9th inning there, but I don't really love going to Kimbrel there. And again, if you can't trust him now with a 4-run lead, then what use is Craig Kimbrel? Why you got arms like Dylan Ross and like Ryan Lambert down in AAA dominating. They're going to get their shot at some point. I know they will, but if you lost this game tonight because of Craig Kimbrel, I mean, what do we have to talk about? You lost out on the playoffs by 1 game last year. You got into the playoffs the year before that by 1 game. Don't tell me it's only April. These games don't matter. Every game does matter. So, we got to have the best 26 guys on this roster, in my opinion. And I can't be convinced that Craig Kimbrel is one of those guys in the bullpen. So, Hudson, what happened to Senga? He got pushed back to Saturday. Today was his scheduled day to start. I guess the Mets wanted to give him a little breather, a little refresher, a couple extra days off, and that's why they called up Christian Scott. No clue on what the Mets are going to do, if Scott's going to remain here and potentially make another start, or if they are going to option him back to AAA. I'm not sure. I'd like to see him get a chance to get back up on the hill here in the big leagues. I thought his stuff was okay. He was not missing by a ton. Some of his pitches were ridiculously out of the zone, but some of them were pretty good pitches, tough takes from the Twins. So I thought the stuff actually looked okay, which I know is crazy to say when you walk 5 batters. Funny stat, walked more batters than recorded outs. Walked 5, hit another guy, and only recorded 4 outs. But I didn't think the stuff was absolutely horrendous, but I don't know. R. Soler says, it's only 1 game from Mauricio. How many of these scrubs suck for weeks? Yeah, and I'm not writing off Mauricio. I think you maybe were talking to somebody else that made a comment up there earlier, but I'm not writing him off. But, you know, it didn't look good tonight, and there's been a lot of stretches between the second half of last year and, you know, even some of the at-bats we saw here went before he got sent back down. Where he just hasn't really looked all that great. So I'm hoping this extended starting regular playing time will let Mauricio finally break out and do something. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I'm not a little concerned with how Ronnie Mauricio looks and if he's going to pan out as a prospect. Ray, Tony, you have to have a good time hope you had a good time in San Diego. I had a great time. Like I said, it was my best friend's wedding, and I mean, it's San Diego, man. Like, come on, food is bussin', everything is just beautiful weather by the ocean. All my buddies out there, I had a great time. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it, man. I hope you're still in here. Who else do we got? Michael Di Patino, I said that yesterday about Vientos. Wow, we really do think alike as Mets fans. We do. I mean, it's bizarre, but we share a brain, as they would say. Who else do we got? Mark Benjamin. Simeon can play shortstop. Seeing Lindor every day is comparable to losing Beltran in center field after he was traded. That is a great comparison because I think the fan base treats him a lot like they treated Carlos Beltran. Wanted to always get on him, of course, because of how 06 ended and some of the other extracurriculars that went on between him and the Wilpons and his injuries and stuff like that. You didn't know how good you had it till it was gone. You know the saying, the grass is always greener on the other side, except it's usually not. And we'll see if Ronnie can rise to the occasion or not here. But Crimson Angel, y'all call in. I was nervous at first. Y'all call You've done great. You've done great on both your calls, Crimson. I appreciate it, man. You really are setting the tone for all the other callers. So we'll open it back up for your calls on our next post-game stream. I think we will do another one tomorrow night, and we'll see how many over the weekend. Definitely on Sunday. Saturday, I'm not sure about scheduling quite yet, but we'll definitely have at least some more streams this weekend. Crimson says, also shout out to Benj too. I'm the Alabama guru. Just the Jets missed out on Ty. That's crazy. There you go, man. I mean, I was all about Ty. Like, I really would have liked to see the Jets pick him, but I think they're pretty invested on next year's quarterback class. So we will see what happens with the Jets. But let me just say, my hopes are not very high for the New York Jets. But all right. Mike O'Brien here. Beatty hit his first home run same day as last year. How about that? And we know Beatty was up and down in the beginning of last year, but look, Beatty needs to have more days like today. The Mets went into this year expecting Beatty to be an impactful bat in this lineup, regardless of the position that he was going to play. And to this point, they have not gotten it. But today was most certainly a good day for Brett Beatty. They don't win this game without him. So give credit where it is due. And like I said, let's hope this is kind of just the beginning of a nice little turnaround for Beatty, looking more like we saw him in the second half of 2025. Jose Lopez, the Mets should go after Yordan Alvarez at the trade deadline because he'll be available. I mean, 3 days ago, we were talking about how the Mets need to sell everybody and trade them off. And now today, we're going to trade for Yordan Alvarez, which I don't hate the idea, but the Mets got a long way to go before I think they should be considering or thinking about adding pieces to this team. We will see how these next 2.5, 3 months transpire for this team. We just got a new subscriber. That's what you guys just heard right there. The old WFAN Let's Go Mets jingle. You guys are awesome. Stony here at the buzzer saying hi, Tony. Stony, hello. How are you? It's been a while since I've seen your name in here, man. I appreciate you tuning in. Mets get the W. It was not pretty, but a win is a win is a win. That's how I started this stream, and that is how I'm going to end it, you guys. Again, not the prettiest win. A lot of things that you could go through and be very disappointed about, that you could be even angry and upset about. But they get the win. It's a series win. It's 2 in a row. We have the Rockies coming to town. Yes, they have been playing better baseball than they have in years past, but they are still the Rockies. So hopefully the Mets can take care of business. I want a sweep or 2 out of 3. I want a sweep or 2 out of 3 from the Nationals after that on the wraparound of this homestand. beginning on Monday against Washington, or Tuesday, whatever day it is. But that is going to do it for right now, you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't already left a like on the YouTube video, go ahead and do that now. I appreciate that very much. Helps the channel out big time. You heard we just got a new subscriber with that WFAN jingle. You can subscribe if you are not already for daily Mets content, post-game streams after every game. And if you're watching on X, head over to my X profile. That's where you'll find the link to my YouTube, and you can come join the chat or call in on our next stream. But until then, that is it for now, you guys. I appreciate it. I am Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.